Hurricane Melissa, which has devastated the Caribbean. We saw arrival of that hurricane at basically gale force 5 arriving on the Jamaica island of Jamaica yesterday, and now arriving in Cuba. But we are looking at absolute devastation. Some 500,000 people left without electricity, people having to be moved to higher land, and concerns that some whole towns are underwater. Let's talk about it all now with Jacqueline Charles, who's a Caribbean correspondent at the Miami Herald. Very good morning to you, Jacqueline.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Well, I say good morning for some people, maybe, but certainly not for those people in Jamaica or Cuba. Tell us just exactly how devastating, as far as we know, because of course it's only before 7 in the morning in Jamaica right now, and only starting to get images out of just how devastating this hurricane has been. But tell us what we know so far.
So what we know is that across Jamaica, there are blocked roads, there are down power lines. Hospitals have been severely damaged, especially in southwestern Jamaica, where Melissa made landfall sometime around 11 o'clock. Packing 185 miles per hour winds. St. Elizabeth Parish, which is the food producing region, which was hit last year with Hurricane Beryl, that area is underwater, according to the local minister. Of course, we're still waiting to see. We're not hearing much in terms of death reports, so we're hoping that that is good news. Yeah. The Minister of Transport says they're hoping to get at least Norman Manley Airport back up and running on Thursday, at least for recovery efforts. And I need to say that the government has launched an official portal to coordinate relief. This is always an issue whenever a storm comes through the Caribbean. And so you see the government very early on trying to take control of that process.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of time to plan. I mean, there are sort of good things and bad things about the hurricane. One is that, it was good that there was time because it was slow moving. But of course, slow moving means there's more devastation when it hits land because it's on land for so long. But there was time for people to prepare. We know, we've seen reports in the media in Britain about, British tourists, over I think some 7,000 of the 25,000 tourists on the island at the current time, arriving at hotels where, everything's boarded up. They're, doing what they can to keep people and property safe. But how much can be done to keep property and, more importantly, people safe in those sort of devastating winds?
I have covered so many hurricanes, whether it's Jamaica, it's Haiti, or it's the Bahamas. And one of the issues in the Caribbean, but we're seeing improvements on this, is that people don't want to leave their homes. They don't want to evacuate. They don't want to go to shelters. And then everything comes to the last minute. So as we are watching this tropical storm, remember, it was a tropical storm for a week. It was slow moving. And then the reports said, this is going to be catastrophic, people. This is going to be the storm of the century, at least for Jamaica. And so there you started to see people trying to prepare. But I spoke to a farmer in St. Elizabeth. I mean, he has greenhouse. Last year it was completely flattened along with more than 200 others. So this go around, I mean, he took off the plastic, he left the metal up, and he said, all I could do was pray. But at the end of the day, I'm going to lose everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's utterly devastating. And we often, even when there's warning of high winds in Britain, we kind of almost joke about, someone's wheelie bin has fallen over, a fence has fallen over, because we just don't experience, as a rule, anything like those sort of extreme, weather events. But this is the thing, as you say, this has come after another hurricane, Hurricane Beryl, only last year, and we've seen so many Caribbean islands devastated. I mean, Haiti's just had one thing after another in terms of natural disasters. Yeah. How soon can a country recover from this? I mean, is Jamaica, is it sort of functioning enough government? Has it got the resources? How much help it's going to need from international aid? How do they go about it?
So I have to tell you, this storm, there's never a good time for a storm, and this storm could not have come at a worse time. I mean, Jamaica is a country that a few years ago we were comparing it as the Greece of the Caribbean because of bankruptcy. Remember, these Caribbean countries are still recovering from COVID-19. Yeah. Some of them are highly in debt, but Jamaica was one of the countries that was making strides. It's going to need international assistance. And all of this is happening at a time when the U.S. government has shut down the United States Agency for International Development. Mm-hmm. We at the Miami Herald, we've been asking, the Trump administration, what kind of assistance can Caribbean countries expect when, we saw Hurricane Dorian 6 years ago in the Bahamas. USAID responded, with over $30 million in assistance. they even chartered seaplanes? We don't know yet. I think first we have to figure out what the assessment in terms of the damage is going to be, what kind of assistance. But one of the things we've seen is CARICOM has issued a statement that is saying that, insurance rates, they need to come down. The international community needs to do more. You cannot be charging these extraordinary amounts for loans when these countries, yes, on paper may be middle income, but in reality, they're struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it is always the people at the bottom of the ladder who get hit hardest. They've got the weakest homes, they've got the business, they haven't got the savings, they haven't got insurance. There's very little they can do when these storms hit.
Indeed, indeed. And we're waiting to see with Cuba. I mean, Cuba is a country that really can't afford any disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, the food situation, the humanitarian situation, and yet, they have evacuated 500,000 people. That storm landed as a Category 3 on the eastern part of the island. And so we are watching that closely, given our close ties here in this community. But again, that is a country that truly, if they get pounded, it's really going to be in a bad state.
Absolutely. Really appreciate you joining us. Jacqueline Charles, she's a Caribbean correspondent at the Miami Herald. Claire Pearce, I mean, look, we've got a bit of rain outside our window right now. We don't have to live with these extremes, but the poorer a country is, more of a basket case the government is, the worse it is for the people.
Absolutely, and that's all you want is for those people to be safe and looked after. We don't know what the death toll is. Let's just hope these people have been able to get to safety.
I mean, three deaths before it had even hit, but you do worry about it. Hopefully with all the preparation, we'll keep our fingers crossed for the good folk of Jamaica. And of course, there'll be a lot of people in Britain who've got close family ties, family and friends over in Jamaica as well. Of course, a lot of tourists as well. Up next, we're going to get to